Hey, everybody, welcome to Friday Live. We have a special treat this week. We have all four partners of HPK Provident here together. For those of you who may be new and don't quite know us yet, I'm Colin. I've got Mike over here, David, and Brian over there. We don't often get together all in person. David and Mike are in our Florida office, and Brian and I are up here in Pittsburgh. But we have a special activity this weekend. One of our employees here, Laura Wider, is getting married this weekend, so we're all in town for the wedding. Big congratulations to Laura. We're very excited to attend the wedding tomorrow. I think we've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Most pressing is I think we're going to still be waiting for these election results longer than I wait for my wife to get ready to go to dinner. We've got some.
Won't be that long, I hope.
I hope not to. So we've got some election results, but none of those elections would be possible without our amazing veterans we have out there. So huge thank you on Veterans Day here to all current, past, and future service members. We wouldn't be able to have this fantastic democratic process without you guys. So big thanks there. Let's dive in a little bit. It's been a pretty exciting week. I know David and I were out for a bit, and we were getting caught up on election results. Mike, how much do you think what we're seeing right now is going to impact the market short term, long term? And we're just going to have an open panel discussion. So kick us off.
Yeah, it certainly has a big impact. More so that the election is over, not necessarily who won, who lost. But with that said, the markets do like gridlock, where it's likely to keep any real policies from moving forward. So we're likely not looking at any additional measurable policies, stimulus type policies in the next 2 years. And there's probably not a very good chance of any corporate or individual tax hikes. So both those things are going to be pretty welcomed by the market. So hopefully it can continue on into the rest of fourth quarter and see where it takes us.
So no free money, and my taxes aren't going up.
Yep.
You got to take the
That's
good
what
with
it
the
seems
bad.
like.
Yeah, that's a good
Take
point.
the good with the bad. Okay.
It looks like we're going to hold up in the free money on the student loan debt relief as well. That's been held up in the courts, and so we're not sure if and when that's going to go through or what the impact of that will be, but it's on hold for now.
Oh, and that's very much what we talked about earlier in the year too, when we had that student debt Friday Live. We talked about how it's very likely going to get held up in the courts,
And
That happened.
as you predicted, that's where we're at with the student loan forgiveness, which is not very surprising.
I was pretty happy with the CPI results. Mike and I were talking about that this morning.
I think the market had a similar reaction. The S&P was up 5.5 or so, and the Nasdaq up, I think 7.3. So yeah, it was there with you. But to put it in perspective, I think this is only the second maybe beat on inflation we've had since the start of the year. So we had one in August, which obviously didn't have a similar reaction, but we'll take this. It's been a tough year, and any good news is good news.
Well, yeah, I guess the question is some people would say, is this a dead cat bounce? Are we in a bear market / recession? And was that just a knee-jerk reaction? Hard to say.
Well, when you're in a bear market, it's a bear market bounce until proven innocent. So we are getting close to that downtrend line I've talked about since the start of the year. So that's just above 4,100. Just below that is the 200-day moving average. So if we get definitively above that, it could start to signal that the bear market's over. It's been kind of my thinking since we bottomed in October that we'd probably get back close to that and probably fail again, just because of the timing of the progressions we need to get in the economic numbers. I mean, it's great that inflation's going down, but that also means that economic growth is slowing. So whether we really bust out from there and start a new sustainable rally, I'm still a little skeptical, but we are seeing some breakouts in some of the other indices, like the Dow is above that downtrend line now, and I believe the small cap Russell 2000 is also starting to break out. So that's a good sign. We'll see where it goes from here.
Well, we'll keep our eye on it for sure. But as we always emphasize, I mean, a lot of this is a function of the planning. If you have the right time frame and the right investments, and you maintain those things and monitor those things, then the ups and downs are what they are. And that's a really important part of what we do. We get a lot of calls on a regular basis. Is it going to be great? Is it going to be bad? And we really go back to that planning. What was your goal? What was your time frame? Did you have the appropriate investments in that time frame? And if so, you work with the ups and downs and move forward.
I've learned many things from my son. When we went hiking, we were hiking at Zion National Park earlier this week, and there's things that sometimes the weather wasn't good, sometimes it was pretty nice. But my son has told me, Dad, there's no such thing as bad weather. It's just inappropriate clothing.
That's very true.
And that goes with our planning process. There's no such thing as Mike might not agree with us about a good market or a bad market, but
Yeah, I prefer bull markets.
Maybe I'll help you out here. There's not really a bad time to invest, but you have to have realistic expectations and goals depending on what time frame you're entering. So maybe not particularly not market specific, but personal goals, objectives. There's not really a bad time to invest. It very much depends on what your situation is. And there is a very wide range of investments from, I always start my conversations with new clients like this. Give me a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being everything's in a mason jar buried in the backyard, and 10 is make me as much money as you can. And if the market goes down, I'm going straight down with it, probably a bit further, right? So there's everything on that spectrum, and it very much depends on your current circumstance and situation. Not really a bad time. There's always opportunity somewhere. It's just picking the right opportunity for your goals and objectives.
Right. You just change your clothing based on which market you're in. If
Yeah.
you're in a bear market, hope you have cash around, raise cash going into it. And then, that's when the most wealth is made. So yeah, bear markets suck, but it's the time that you can really create wealth.
Yeah, it's been cold. We're all, I would recommend strong, heavy parkas for our current environment. But hopefully spring's coming.
You get fashion tips here as well.
Not good ones, as you can tell by looking around the table.
And that's why I'm quiet right now. That's fantastic.
And as always, we cannot give you specific investment advice here at these meetings. We encourage you to talk to your trusted financial advisor. And if you don't have one, we're applying to be your trusted advisor. So with that.
Yeah, clearly there's nothing we're talking about are specific recommendations for any individual. And to David's point, make sure you consult with qualified financial professional, tax professional, legal professional. And not only now what the market is doing, what politics are doing, but at all times. And we can certainly help guide in that regard. But there's nothing here that is a specific recommendation. But generally, thoughts on what's happening, our observations from experience, individually and collectively, that we want to share with you. I will emphasize, though, and Colin, if you could bring that up.
Sure.
There are some great resources in regards to your finances for veterans. Here is the website. It's a general guide for what the government provides to veterans, which is fairly extensive and somewhat confusing. So if you have any questions about your specific scenario for you and your family and how some of these benefits might tie in, we'd be glad to walk you through those. But that's a great site to go on to find out what's available to veterans, to include generally low-cost loans, debt assistance. There's assistance for families. And they also do provide some general financial guides. It is very general, and oftentimes it's specific to those veterans' benefits. And we'd be able to help you tie in what's available from the veteran side, from the government side, and then what you have going on personally. But those are really very important benefits for folks that have made an incredible sacrifice, not only as individuals, but their families as well. It's very tough on families for active duty members and for those folks that have been in the military, and they recognize the toll it took. And so we want to thank everybody once again, all the veterans. And it's a very special day that we should all take a moment and pause and recognize not only sacrifices of the individuals that were in the military and away from home, but what it meant for the families as well. Because there's folks back at home. They got to pay the bills. They got to make sure that the car is running. They got to get kids to school and whatnot. And so we certainly recognize it. And the founding of our firm really goes back to several veterans. Ron Zucchelli, of course, was in the 82nd Airborne. Shout out to Jack Delaney, who was in the Navy on the USS Orion.
Correct.
And so really what we can go back to and trace in the founding of our firm were veterans, and made the great sacrifices, and then came home after their great efforts and did wonderful things for folks on the financial planning side. And we carry that legacy forward.
Well said. Well said.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all very much for joining us today. We do this every Friday, same time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern.
Not like this, though.
Not like this. It's not all four
This
of
is
us.
special.
We kind of jump in and out, and at least a couple of us are always on it. First and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to our audience. We've seen a very good increase in the amount of viewership we've been getting since we started these. We love doing them, but we would love to hear what you guys would like to see in the future. So feel free to comment if there are specific topics you would like us to touch on. We would love to hear those, and feel free to share these videos with anyone you find you think would find them helpful and useful. We're always looking to improve. So we are an open forum. Thank you all very much. Have a fantastic Veterans Day. Happy Friday, and we will catch you all next week.